What are small red flags at a job interview that say do not work here? If you're at a small or medium-sized company and meet the CEO during your interview, in my experience, this is an indication that they don't trust the people they've hired to do their jobs. They don't trust their HR, department heads, etc. to hire people for their teams. And that trickles down and creates an environment of micromanagement. Obviously, if it's really small, you'll probably meet the CEO because there may not be HR, recruiters, managers in place, but they are in place, and the CEO still feels the need to be in an interview. It's a no from me, dog. I had one interview where they didn't want to tell me what I'd be paid. They were, well, how much are you asking? And I was, how much are you paying? So after a few minutes of no answers, I went, well, I hope you get the right person for the job. I smiled, shook hands and left. I guess they hired someone because they had vanished. But then it returned a couple of months later. I'm guessing the person they hired didn't last. I learned that neither did the previous person. No wonder the HR person was so shifty. Quickly hired, like on the spot, and any mention of drama. My experience is from my job that I've been trapped in for years now. I'm quitting this month. Mentioned that it was a family and a building full of girls, so it can be catty. But it's overall positive environment. I was 20. It was 2020 when everything opened and everyone was needing jobs. It was my 5th or so interview, so I took it as they called me hours later. It's a salon BTW lol. If the interviewer describes the job as a complex environment, the people as family, or describes the company as being in a growth or startup phase. If working in the US, any place with fewer than 50 employees is a red flag. If a future colleague is interviewing me, I've had good luck asking what they like about their current role. Some of them will blink distress signals across the room, just off the top of my head, when they want you to meet after work hours. So the worker they are going to fire won't see it coming. That is also how they will fire you. If you go to interview during regular hours, when you walk from reception to interview, no one is talking or smiling or looking up, or place is empty. Interviewer asks you for salary range and then say something like, oh, we can't pay you that, and tell you they will revisit your pay after X amount of time. No, they won't. Had a phone interview for a library job after grad school in which the interviewer finished the interview by saying something to the effect of, we don't want any drama around here. I was so confused I didn't know what to say, as it wasn't technically a question. I muttered something about how I do not cause drama and the phone call ended. I didn't get the job. Years later, a co-worker of mine who had formerly worked for the interviewer confirmed what I suspected she was. The drama. They talk about how amazing the pay and benefits are, and then you get the offer, and the pay and benefits are decidedly not amazing. These people are out of touch. They think their company is greatest ever in their particular industry, and you'll never get a raise. ... If you take the job, enjoy your meditation app subscription, while making a mid-tier salary and watching your CEO auto-valet himself several times a week. Last summer I interviewed a veterinary clinic that literally told me at the end of my 15-minute interview, I'm impressed that you even showed up for the interview. Most people don't. We're desperate to hire, and you have experience. We're offering you the job, and you can start as soon as you want. Do not work at any place that admits they are desperate to hire, especially when animals' lives are at stake. I asked about the team and was told there were 4 others. 3 was mentioned with their responsibilities. One was as that girl with the mustard data or something. I was younger and dumber. I took that job. Problems 1, I'm a woman, and he didn't call any of the members. To that girl was definitely over 40 when I joined that team. I didn't stay long. Who understands why? I look a bit like a hippie, and when I was applying for apprenticeships in the beginning of my career, I learned to avoid the places that put emphasis on it. No one would require a girl to cut her hair to chop vegetables, and I thought them asking me was annoying, but it also just was the places that would still shout and scream, for no other reason than tradition. If it's an office area, did you get a chance to see where people actually work? If the desks were personalized but not completely trashy, did you get a chance to interview with a few people one-to-one ideal? Or was it some sort of panel interview? If it was a panel, was everybody oddly deferential to the boss? Any unprofessional interview questions? I was ultra desperate for a job at the time, so it didn't even cross my mind. Should have walked after the manager was 10 minutes late to the interview. I waited 3 hours. I was desperate and in a bad spot and needed the job. I quit after 2 weeks. There was a lot of other things that went on while I was there. For anyone wondering, it was a Red Lobster. If they aren't open about the salary of the position or its responsibilities, it usually means they want to pay you terribly and expect you to work well beyond the scope of your title. Also, group interviews. Any company unprofessional enough to hold a group interview for a non-fast food or retail job is not worth working for IMO. I always ask the interviewer if they are happy working at the company. Most aren't ready for this question and can't lie on the spot very well. Their face and body say it all. If they are happy, they relax and want to talk. If they are unhappy, they lock up and deflect or are terse with their responses. When they start with "we value teamwork here," I don't give a shit about your teamwork. We are not a sports team. I want to come to work, go home and be paid. Your mumbo jumbo about teamwork, family, or whatever doesn't interest me. High turnover unless it's a restaurant or retail job where that's normal. I had an office job where they went through 10 people interviews on a team with 7 positions. Sending my notice was one of the happiest days of my life. The team hasn't taken vacation in 2 years, and I haven't taken a vacation in 2 years. If your employees don't get to take their time off, and you don't take time off as a leader, you have a toxic work culture. We have a lot of benefits outside of pay. All our employees stay here because of the amazing community team. This just means they don't pay well and have to keep up the narrative that they're more fun. Asking if you can start without giving your current employer notice. I don't like burning bridges like that. Also very hypocritical, as they all expect you to give notice and you eventually quit. If there are political signs, flags, quotes around the office, if a business owner would rather risk losing business and to not be political, the environment is probably not stable. Pay attention to how eager they are. Do they want you right now? Or are they more relaxed? It's a decent indicator if they are bleeding staff or if they have a lot of long-termers. When they say stuff like, "Yeah, we're working on getting health insurance for everyone," or "not this year, but next year we'll have bonuses, etc." 9-10 times it's not happening ever. If everyone there is really young, staff turnover is high, and they're going for people young and inexperienced enough to pay poorly. Nothing good ever comes from those places. We don't have job descriptions. Everyone jumps in where they're needed. Yeah, you have a degree in IT, but you might be told to clean the shitter or unload trucks. A big red flag is a group interview. A small one that I've noticed is if they spend more time convincing you it's a good place to work, rather than asking you questions. Very specific questions about performance processes or budget issues. A job interview is not a consultation. Also, bad-mouthing existing staff during the interview. When they say, during the interview, some people even last 3 months here, like, dude, that is not the flex you seem to think it is. I noped out of there fast. Once went to a job interview where the interviewer mentioned that 70 of the workers left during COVID, but in the same breath said how they value their employees. If possible, I always try and schedule an interview as late as possible in the day. That way, I can get a sense for what time people actually leave. My last job asked what will make you stay for more than 1 year. There was a reason why this was asked. Everyone left or was fired within the year. Anytime someone told me in an interview we're like a family here, it usually means they expect you to live there. So that became a red flag for me. They bring up how fast-paced it is and how much overtime people do. Bonus points if they tell you that they will often order dinner for everyone. No direct deposit. It's 2024. Why the fuck are you still making me cash a check? The answer is because they're too fucking cheap to pay for DD. Trump hat bitching about wokeness. Both things that made me decide I didn't want to work at a local business. Nobody wants to work anymore. Then what is your expected salary? Me, I was unable to find the range, them silent. I'm hanging up the next time this happens. There are always opportunities for overtime. We will hound you constantly to cover frequent sick calls and badly planned rotas. Did the interview start on time? Were they interrupted during the interview? Did the interviewer make eye contact with you? If they're dodgy about pay and benefits, You should know what you'll be making. Any period of unpaid work as a trial. Bulk interviews. If they can't be bothered to do a one-by-one face-to-face interview, then they view workers as beneath them. If it's for a 9-5 job, and they schedule the interview for after 5 p.m. This tells you something about the culture. A poor state of the toilet room. It means a company isn't doing well and cuts its expenses wherever it can. Always ask why the position came available. If half of the team is leaving, you don't want to be there. We're like a family really means we expect you to be devoted to this POS job like it's your mom. Work hard, play hard, you'll work insane hours and not have time for friends outside work. If they keep claiming they want a superstar or ninja who's not afraid of a challenge, they answer the question, what is the culture like with it's like a big family? I would always look at the cars and employee parking and the employees' shoes. Bad mouthing the last person who had the job, even if they did fuck it up. Nobody beside the people interviewing you will make eye contact with you. The people interviewing you won't let you be alone with the other workers. We are a family here. Which one? The Flintstones, the Manson family. Run. Why is the position open? How long was the employee in the position? If it feels like a sales pitch instead of an interview, just walk out. Getting your name wrong during the interview times. Can you lift a 180-pound body? And if so, can you start tonight? They'll tell their family and treat you like you're adopted. When everyone at the company seems stressed and exhausted. Poor reviews on Glassdoor or a disorganized interview.